It is clear the mechanisms of Security Council have been abused to enable mass atrocities. Our failure to establish a ceasefire is no longer justifiable. We have run out of excuses, Mr. President. It is time to address the problem. The veto should not be exercised at will. There must be an exception in cases of crimes against humanity and attacks of civilian infrastructure. We must commit ourselves towards reform United Nations. Justice begins with ending impunity and ensuring accountability. For this to be realized, the undemocratic veto must be limited or abolished altogether. It is time to realize Palestine's right to statehood and full membership in this assembly. Israel has violated every international law there is, including the Genocide Convention, Geneva Convention, and human rights treaties. Just months ago, the world witnessed Israel's mockery and utter disrespect of the United Nations in this very hall with the insolent shredding of the United Nations Charter. Israel's actions with each passing day raise our doubt as to whether it actually believes in the UN system or values its membership in this organization.
I now give the floor to His Excellency Mohammed Hassan, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Malaysia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellency, Mr. President, thank you for this opportunity to address the 79th session of General Assembly. Representing Malaysia, I stand before you today, Mr. President, reiterating our commitment to peace in line with the values enshrined in our esteemed charter. 79 years it has been since the founding of the United Nations. From the dust, the Second World War, we emerged, many of us as new nation states, with a shared goal to build a safer world. Yet, for many of us, it is not a safer world than it was 79 years ago. For many, it has only become a deadlier world. It has become a world in which war can be waged remotely and with impunity, a world in which a drone strike can fatally interrupt a lesson at school, a surgery in a hospital, or a convoy delivery humanitarian aid. We have lost, Mr. President, we have lost again these practices, yet our call for peace are repeatedly ignored and vetoed away. In other words, it is a world in which the mighty continue to silence the meek with far greater weapons than before. Nowhere does this ring truer, of course, than in Gaza. We stand at a critical juncture in world history on the failure of global governance to address the genocide of Palestinians. And it has echoed across the world on the abysmal response by world leaders to end these horrendous crimes. Yet, there are also many of us who have pursued justice for the people of Gaza. For almost 1 year now, we have raised our voices in protest and sought to establish a ceasefire. Again and again, our voices have been shut down in the Security Council through the power of veto. It is clear the mechanisms of Security Council have been abused to enable mass atrocities. Our failure to establish a ceasefire is no longer justifiable. We have run out of excuses, Mr. President. It is time to address the problem. The veto should not be exercised at will. There must be an exception in cases of crimes against humanity and attacks of civilian infrastructure. We must commit ourselves towards reform United Nations. Justice begins with ending impunity and ensuring accountability. For this to be realized, the undemocratic veto must be limited or abolished altogether. The humiliating paralysis of Security Council must be corrected through the empowerment of this General Assembly, where the voices of the majority prevail. Understand this, our willingness to reform is a matter of life and death of countless innocent people. There are children dying between missile strike and between the words that we speak today. Mr. President, the theme of this General Assembly session is leaving no one behind. In the spirit of this effort, it fills us with hope to see the state of Palestine seated among us today. Malaysia lauds the 143 member states for their support in extending the UN's principle of equality among nations to the state of Palestine this year. And we strongly urge the remaining minority to join the majority. It is time to realize Palestine's right to statehood and full membership in this assembly. It is only through the elevation of dialogue and diplomacy that we can seek a long-lasting solution, not through collective punishment, not through man-made famine, and not through impunity and disregard for international law, Mr. President. Indeed, the elevation of dialogue and respect for international law have been compromised in this assembly for some time now. Israel has violated every international law there is, including the Genocide Convention, Geneva Convention, and human rights treaties. Just months ago, the world witnessed Israel's mockery and utter disrespect of the United Nations in this very hall with the insolent shredding of the United Nations Charter. Israel's actions with each passing day raise our doubt as to whether it actually believes in the UN system or values its membership in this organization. Its illegal occupation has entrenched a system of apartheid and discrimination against Palestinians. The Israel regime has itself declared its intent to wipe out an entire population. This is, Mr. President, without question, a genocide. The United Nations must not remain idle. We must urgently utilize the existing processes founded by the General Assembly, along with mechanisms developed by Human Rights Council. Malaysia calls on the international community to reinstitute the United Nations Special Committee Against Apartheid. Furthermore, Malaysia's demand that the Security Council invoke the powers under Chapter 7 of UN Charter and impose an immediate arms embargo against Israel. Therefore, Mr. President, our task is threefold. Number one, we must limit or abolish the veto. Number two, we must continue to empower the voices of the oppressed within this General Assembly. And thirdly, we must halt the flow of weapons to rogue states who have proven 100 times over their willingness to commit crimes against humanity. Although the powerful few may behave as though might is right, let there be no question that in the United Nations, the voice of majority will not go ignored. Indeed, we must empower smaller countries to meet the challenges of our time.